these debts. Now, some of them, like for instance, jail fees, we're disputing those. That's $150,000. But there are others that are not in dispute. Caterpillar has sued us for $150,000. So that's $300,000 of the debt. But there are other things that we need to do and formulate as to how we're going to approach it to get things done. And we need to make some significant dent in this before the end of the year. But I open it up to the city clerk or city treasurer for any comments that they may have relating to the debts that they've given to you and the situation as to how they want to proceed. Now, one of the things that before they go forward, I've asked the mayor and the city clerk or city treasurer to do is for us to begin to age bills in the sense of a lot of people do work and they want to get paid right then. But there's a lot of people that's been before them. And we probably ought to look at some plan of 30 to 45 days before we start for people to pay, because before people are paid, because we need to deal with the debts that we have. But I will open the floor to the city clerk, city treasurer to further comment.
Ready?
No, I haven't come. I mean, you sent the email, they know the extent of the bills. But we don't purchase them. We have to sit down, me, you, and the mayor. We have to sit down and figure out how we're gonna do it. With the mayor's responsible for purchasing. I can't purchase, you can't purchase. The mayor's responsible for payments. I can't, he can tell us what to pay and what not to pay. So this is gonna have to be something that me, you, and him have to sit down and discuss. I don't think we can sit here and discuss it in 5 minutes to figure out how we're gonna pay $900,000 worth of bills. So I mean, I don't know what they expect me to say, except just let them know that we have these bills outstanding. We need to cut spending. We need to start working on making some sort of payment.
Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
I got a whole lot to say. If you go through some of these bills, you look at them, some of them didn't start with me, but they were here. I understand that some of these are relatively small bills. I think a lot of if we fix a couple of issues that we need to fix, as we all know, the water department has been draining the city for years. We've had proposals, rate studies, and things like that, and we have to do something about it. As previous meetings we've talked about, the city has not collected all the money it should collect from the water department. If we get the water department needs fixed, we have some money. When I was on the city council, we spent $800,000 on renting pumps. It was this last year. So we got a water manager who has gotten us off all except 3 pumps. So that expense is down. We need to address the issues with the water department so the sanitation can get their fees and the water department can run functionally and we can have some cash. Madam Clerk, am I correct? There's $2 million. How much money does the water department owe the city?
I think the water audits said that they owed us about $2 million, didn't they, city attorney?
Right.
Mr. Valley?
Yes.
So if we get that issue fixed,
It's actually
it's
more than that. It was 700,000, and 1.1. It was over 3 million.
so that's what's draining your finances. So at some point we have to let the water department get the needs that it needs to get it fixed so we can have some cash. We can't. The sanitation department needs trucks. Everybody got a need, and we got to try to get it. We have to. There's tough decisions to be made. I know nobody likes increases. I know nobody want to do any of that. But these are things that we have to do. We're going to continue to spiral down in debt. We're going to have to raise revenue, and we'll have to get the water department where it can totally function. Or we're going to have more than this, because in previous years, when I see here, when the water department was making money, we didn't have these problems. You know, we've lost some things. I think it's time for us to make some adjustment. You know, the landfill has been here asking for things. The water department has been here asking for things, the sanitation department and the water department who collects revenue, they just drowning. And the only way we gonna survive is to do something.
Well,
If I may add, one of the council persons asked me how we went from owing 400,000 up to like 997,000. Previously, what you were given and you had asked for was a list of the debt we carried over. This list that you have in front of you now has most of our ongoing expenses like truck payments and car payments and things that come out of the account, and gas, oil and grease, copy lease, phone lease and all of that. Those are ongoing monthly things that we are in somewhat delinquent in, like cell phone bills and landline bills and all that. But I had sent you something earlier about the sales tax revenue that I get in on the 25th. I listed the things that needed to be paid or had to be paid. And as I pointed out in that, I was going to be $98,000 short in being able to make all of the payments that were required. So I wanted to be thorough on this last one so you would know, but please understand that out of that sales tax money, sometimes we only have $5,000 or $6,000 to pay bills. That sales tax money only comes in on the 25th. We always have a payroll at the end of the month. That's when we have to pay our pensions and our part of the pensions, taxes and all of that, and we don't always have enough. The check that you're going to get from the water department around mid-month, that covers the sanitation fees, that right now won't even cover your mid-month payroll because you're running about $146,000 payroll every 2 weeks. So the revenue is down, sales tax is down. People, the citizens are having to make ends meet and buy food and fuel to go to their jobs and feed their families. And they're not spending like they did in the time of COVID. But understand that, like I say, before you were getting a list of the past due bills, the same ones that I gave the auditors. I have to give them a list every year. But this time you've gotten the bare bones of what's going out and how much is owed.
So with the Kathy Bissell Foundation, $50,000, we need to really look at that because we've done a lot.
Mhm.
So we may not own that.
Yeah.
So you can take
There's some
that.
things that might be able to be negotiated,
Right.
like the $64,000 for the police body cameras.
Right.
They might cut us a deal. I'm gonna give them a call and see what they expect.
So
But and as I told the city attorney the other day, I'm not comfortable setting up payment plans because I don't know that I'll be able to honor them, you know.
well, if I may,
yes.
there are two things that the council needs to also be made aware of. You've already been briefed about the water utility and how the water utilities, the audits show that we're now losing probably $1 million a year in what, the sanitation fees that would be coming to the city. The one thing that has been on the table but hadn't been discussed thoroughly is the harbor tax lapsed June 30, 2020. And we had the city treasurer go back and look at the numbers and see how much money we're actually losing. That was the purpose of his email the other day, to show that the city is not receiving $500,000 annually because that money was moved towards the jail fund, towards the jail tax. The citizens voted on that, and but that's revenue that we've lost also, $500,000 a year. So between the two, you're looking at $1.5 million a year that we somehow need to make up. So that there needs to be some increase in revenues and also collections, as well as dealing with some of our expenses as well. I bring this up because we're now in October and I've been privately trying to meet with people, talking to the department here, talking to the mayor, talking to city clerks, to the treasurer. All year I've been just ringing in people's ears about purchases, spending, and how we bring things in line, because we started out at $588,000 in arrears when this mayor took office. one issue, this is a serious issue. I know we need equipment and all that, but we need some way for it to operate. Now, I asked the city treasurer because the purchase order ordinances, I don't know if the procedure is being followed, because the issue is we're not supposed to spend a dime until the city treasurer tells us that we have the money to pay it. And I've been asking everybody from purchase order clerk to the mayor, the city treasurer, city clerk, to everyone, is the procedure being followed? Because we're trying to arrest the fall. And I've said it privately to everybody. And so that's why I'm comfortable saying it publicly at this point, because I keep trying to talk to people about trying to deal with expenses. And we need to deal with expenses. This is not something we can stick our head in the sand about. The city council, you all in charge of finances, we have to deal with expenses. I understand being left with $588,000 in unpaid bills when we started. It's something that none of us appreciate, that none of us like, but we take it from there and have to move forward.
And I say this, I understand that we that $500,000 was debt when I started, but you know, I say this, you know, you'll be in debt. That's the way it is. I mean, we got to work ourselves out. But right now, when people trash and stuff not getting picked up, when people can't get the service they need, I understand it. But you got trucks down, and we following the policy. We doing the best we can. But who? The people that got the water issues don't want to hear, well, I can't. And that's the thing. I understand the body can take the action it needs to take, but we had a major water issue. We had trash, we had all this stuff, and I think what we should do is find a way to just deal with it. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. You know what the finances are, and I wish that you all take some action on increases so that we can get the water department where it needs to be, so the city can survive. Because we cannot survive at the rate we're going.
Mayor, Mr. Clerk, Mr. City Attorney, Mr. Treasurer, in all due respect, you're all just repeating yourselves, right? And so what we should do is deal with the rest of the agenda. And since that's the elephant in the room, we come back to that because it ain't gonna be worked out tonight anyway, whatever that issue is. And we've taken an extensive amount of time being preached to. Now,
We're not preaching to you.
Ms. Gwen Maybon is here, Madam City Clerk. If you would write her name down to be placed on the 17th agenda.
Yes.
She wants to address the city council about car accident. And she'll provide paperwork to you before that meeting. If we could skip down to agenda item 8A, 1A, Communities Unlimited presentation. There's a motion on your table. Communities Unlimited is asking that be adopted. And it's titled motion and Communities Unlimited or something of that sort. Has some blank lines for whoever makes the motion, who seconds the motion, and who the point person for the city will be. With the mayor, you designated somebody to be the point person for Communities Unlimited Communication. Is that Miss Ford, Miss Coates, me, whoever you designate, they need to write that in there.
You be the contact person.
I should have kept my mouth shut.
Yeah, that's the motion. What's the other? Motion.
I don't. Ms. Miller, may I borrow your motion? The motion reads, in a meeting held on October the 3rd, 2023, discussion was made on the 2021 annual report needed for USDA RD office. A motion was made by one of the council members to request the assistance of and approve Communities Unlimited provide technical assistance related to the task outlined in the signed and approved work plan by the mayor of the city of Helena-West, Arkansas. City council appointed, and the mayor says James Valley as the point person for assisting Communities Unlimited staff in gathering data for tasks outlined in the approved work plan. This motion was seconded by the council person, and the motion was carried by a vote of blank to blank, signed by the mayor and attested by the clerk. Motion to adopt. Communities Unlimited is the group of people who are coming in providing technical assistance to the city. They've been trying to help us with the water issues somewhat. Some of their work may be a bit redundant, but they was sent here, as I understood it, by Senators Bozeman and Cotton, and they're provided to us at no cost to us directly. The city won't be paying any money, but they provide technical assistance and to help us to coordinate the work that's being done by the water department and city administration on seeking grants and just doing things differently to benefit the city.
Yeah, someone y'all want to do that, or that we're discussing?
To do that, they're gonna bring staff for technical assistance. And then the mayors may need a point person to help them to gather the information they need to make various applications and presentations to the various.
Y'all have a point person? Y'all have a point person?
Do we have a what?
Y'all have a point person?
He just said that I was gonna be,
Okay.
yeah, so. We do now.
Ms. Davis moves to Community Unlimited work plan. That second. Is there a second? Yeah, Mr. Anthony seconds the motion. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Etherly,
Yes.
Ms. Miller, Ms. Davis, Dr. Miller,
I abstain.
Mr. St. Columbia. Okay,
Yes.
Oh,
That's still not four, so.
okay, we have 3 abstentions, 1 absent, and 2 yes.
All right. So the next item,
let's, Mr. Chief of Staff, on the September 19th minutes, we were supposed to have a public hearing. We didn't set a public hearing.
that's what I was about to address, we need to set it for the 17th.
Okay.
Hold the public hearing tonight for.
For Communities Unlimited.
Yeah.
Is what the minutes said.
Yeah.
So we could set a public hearing for the 17th at 5:30, right before the city council meeting. We need to do a notice of public hearing to be published.
Before you get started, Council, I just gotta say, this is free service. These folks are working on grants and stuff. They're trying to help our water department. And I mean, I know you. It's free to help us. And I mean, you know, these folks been coming out here doing free work, trying to help us get grants to get the water department some relief, and we wait again. I mean, I know you just get it, but I'm not going to do something to sneak and hurt you. This is free to provide. They're looking at $100 million to help our water department. They waiting on us, you know. And I think, you know,
What is the public hearing?
We're setting it for the 17th.
and that's some of our issues. And I know that that's some of our issues. We did this before when it came to the landfill. We're paying $16,000 a month for a dump truck, articulating truck, and we waited so long. The truck was gonna pay $6,000 a month for. We lost it. We would be happy paying for that truck when we paid $16,000 versus $4,000 a month. So I don't have. I mean, I'm just kind of like, whoa, you know. Go ahead, Chief of Staff. I'm just like, you know, we lose it. And the more time we wait, we steadily lose. We lose.
And all of
This-
this, and I'm just gonna share this, and I'm voicing my concerns. I'm not pretending to talk for anybody else. you know, it's a little overwhelming to be told that we started at the year at $580-something thousand, and we are now at $900,000. We've grown in debt $300-some thousand. And, you know, I understand that this group is going to alleviate or attempt to alleviate whatever. But the reality is we don't know anything about it. You know, it's data like that that to me is important. And whether it's free, whether it's going to be at a sliding scale cost, whatever it is, the reality is we have nothing. And maybe I missed that meeting, but I don't see, there's nothing here.
And I do apologize, but they made a presentation. Now, even with the debt that we're in, let's be clear about it. We had water issues. The sanitation department got issues. The landfill got issues. We had a truck and we paid $16,000. Am I correct, Chief of Staff? 16 grand a month. We had a truck. We could have used some of that money to pay some of our stuff off, but it's like we're waiting, and the shoe is dropping. That we go study, dwelling in debt till we do something. We can't get out of debt when we got the same problems that we've had, and we have not addressed those issues. We hear that the people saying that the water department, the clerk is saying, the treasurer is saying, the city attorney is saying that the water department, we lose $1 million a year. Well, that comes from the general fund. So we have to make some tough choices. Say, listen, how we gonna do this? We got to get the water department where it's functional so the city can be functional, because the water department is killing the city. And that's where it is. Mr. Murdoch got contracts out there now, still doing what? Fixing leaks. He's still trying to find adequate staff. I mean, so we got to repair garbage trucks. We got the sanitation department asking for garbage trucks. But we're going to have to acquire some debt, because the citizens ain't going to want to hear this about, we broke, I can't pick up the trash. We got somebody right now that we're paying to pick up trash right now because we don't have a truck. So I mean, ain't none of this gonna be popular. None of it. Raising rates ain't nothing gonna be popular. But you know, we were put here to make these hard decisions.
Mayor Franklin, can I ask you a question? And this is just from the perspective of somebody listening. I'm going to ask this question. If we've already found out that we are $2 to $3 million in debt,
Okay.
because the water department is not paying us, what have we put in place to get that money from them?
We've asked to raise rates. The water department has issues that they need to fix. I can't say, hey, we'll do this. I need you all to say, hey, take the appropriate steps to raise rates to get the water department where it can function. And this has not happened this year. It's been happening for years. The water department has been swallowing up the city's money. Anytime that the water department is collecting money for sanitation fees, it is not being delivered here to the general funds, we losing it because they got people to pay. So, okay, I got $50,000 to pay. I'm the water department. I got $50,000 to pay, and I owe y'all $170,000 worth of fees. Well, I'm gonna try to make sure that I don't go further in debt. Reba Weston, when she was here, she was asking the same thing because she cashed in city, because she get out of there. I was sitting there telling I had no idea it was that bad. It's bad. And the more we just said, well, I don't feel comfortable. I don't either. But at some point, we got to make the decision saying, listen, we better save our water department so we can save our city. Because I ain't gonna go back and say Kevin, or nobody's gonna say me. We gotta fix the issue. It's gonna be a hard pill to swallow. If we everybody said we lose our sanitation department, we can fix this. We got this. Energy don't care about the city of Helena being in debt. They don't care about that. My light bill $700. I gotta pay it. There ain't but 3 of us in the home, but I gotta pay it. Regardless of the fact, water bill $90-something. I gotta pay it regardless of the fact. I gotta have it. So at some point, we gotta do what we gotta do for this city. And I ain't scared. I encourage us to do what we need to do, or we gonna drown. You gonna study make debt. But if we can't fix the water department issue, the water manager has been here time after time, the sanitation director has been here time after time, study saying, well, garbage trucks down. So you're giving somebody else some money right now to come in and haul The ride up and down the street, our guys got to show them where to go, dump our trash. So we need to fix the water issue. We need to raise rates, and we need to show the public that we're responsible for what they're giving us. And we came with our rates lower than anybody. Barton, go right down the street, look at Lex and Barton water. Look at their rates and look at our rates. Okay, so we that's something that we need to be looking at. I know it's not favorable, but it needs to be done to save the water department, to get it fixed. I mean, we applying for grants. That's what the Communities Unlimited do. People are trying to help us to take some of the weight off the city. I mean, I know you all don't have the full understanding, but I promise you, me and the chief of staff and me and the city attorney have work with Communities Unlimited. They are trying to help us. And you know, if we don't get the help, you know, we be just like we were at the landfill with the articulated truck. We came down, we waited on the treasurer to get us to report, we came back, the truck was gone. And we still, and next month, well, this month, am I right, chief of staff, we're gonna spend how much money on that truck in the landfill? Then we really
approved was $16,500,
So how much was the truck we was trying to buy?
$140,000.
So how much we been spent down on those two trucks?
We spent $33,000.
If I may, Mr. Miller. With the weight of the lack in the water utility and the not having the harbor tax anymore. The event earlier this year, when the water utility had all the major issues that further aggravated the problem. So part of the $400,000 is directly tied to all the money that the city's been spending to try to help the water utility stay afloat. I don't have all that data. The treasurer would have all the data, but that's part of the issue that we have. It's not that irresponsible things. It's just you had water main break, got the water main break, and all the other things, and the money that you got a report last month that the money that for fixing the leaks that we got for the governor for $100,000. You spent all that stuff for $338, I believe, is what was in the report last month. But
no, that's not correct.
That's not the what?
That's not correct. We allocated $100,000, that was the loan, and cashed $100,000 CD, and we had spent all but that little portion of $200,000. We spent every bit of the 100.
Okay.
I think one of your plumbers got over 90 by himself.
Okay, so we spent almost $200,000 just fixing leaks, and so the issue is saying part of it is the events further aggregated finances that were already behind, and for a water utility, the primary way you either raise the rates or cut expenses, and really. What the governor's office told us basically is we need to increase expenses. We need to increase payroll, increase investments and capital improvements and all those things in water utility. So the water utility, the primary way to dig your way out is going to be raising rates. We're digging our way out as a city.
Well, city attorney, so, and this is just how I'm looking at this. And this goes back to what Attorney Etherly said to one of our department heads a couple of weeks ago. If you're going to bring something to us, then have it in a language that we can look at it, we can crunch the numbers, we can kind of say, and I understand this is free and all of that, but I like to see things. It helps when I can see things. Now, this, I'm looking at it, and I'm seeing some stuff on here that, quite frankly, I'm like, why in the world do we owe X amount of dollars to this entity? There's one bill on here that last year was $6,000. And in 2023, well, 2022, it was 6,000. This year, it's more than double. It's $15,000. But we don't, I mean, and it's noted the same way, and this is on page 19 of the 27. And so we've not had any real conversation about that. And I think it goes back to, and I think maybe I'm just annoying, but I really think we need to have a meeting where we do exactly what we've talked about numerous times, and we go through each one of these so that there's some sort of explanation as to what is this exactly? And that's all I'm asking, because I hear what you're saying. We can't keep going with ballooning debt. I get that.
Mhm.
But I just want a little bit more conversation about stuff.
And I see what you're talking about with the ambulance service. That's a monthly fee that they have. You know, it's Caterpillar is $141,000. That doesn't come. That's that's on the 22. With Caterpillar, 141. That's not something I didn't engage in a contract with Caterpillar.
Ms. Miller, your ambulance service fee is about $15.66 a month. And I still owe some money from the year 2022. I haven't paid anything for 2023.
Well, again, not to cut you all off,
Yes.
but to cut you off, because you're getting mired in that report. And we should probably have the meeting that you all have talked about, where you're going through all your finances, so everybody get to understand clearly where you are. Because this report is a snapshot. That's what you owe today. This is October. We should be getting franchise fees this month, which may help perhaps reduce some of that down. The city doesn't get the same amount of money every month. It never has. You only get your franchises quarterly. You're gonna get some taxes from across the street if your treasurer pays it from those who paid taxes late. All those things will come in and so to speak, save some of the day. They ain't gonna save the whole day, but that money has not come in yet. And so it's a snapshot, and it is what it is, but it's not necessarily the whole story. And you are entitled to the whole story. I just don't think you're gonna get it tonight. I don't think you even set up to get it tonight. I don't think anybody's ready to provide. It's just kind of talking about it. And you got these other items that you can deal with. And go and deal with those and come back and deal with that. Nobody's gonna get any money approved tonight because nobody's asking to spend it. Other than what they've been spending.
Quick question. So when we, and this may not be a question we can answer, but I'm just curious. So as we were finding out that they owed us X amount of thousands of dollars and they weren't paying it, are you saying they weren't paying anything? Or were they paying, say, $10 on a $20 bill? If you understand what I'm saying. I'm talking about the water sanitation situation.
Well, traditionally what has happened, and I'll invite Mr. Esther or the treasurer or Mayor Franklin to expound on it. The treasurer and the city clerk, the treasurer, Ms. Davis, well, the treasurer would tell us that they're paying some, and city clerk would tell us they're paying some, but we would never advise as to the entire amount. And until the city was provided those audits, we didn't know the precise amount of the debt and how voluminous it was. If anybody wants to correct me on that, feel free to respond.
Well, if I may, I was trying to not overtalk the subject, but I think Ms. Miller raises a point that needs to be clarified for the public. Her initial question was related to how can we get them to turn over the money, or why are they not turning over the money? And I think that's like a threshold issue that a lot of people in the public don't understand. I've had city employees come to me and talk to me about financial issues in their department, and I try to explain the water issue. And they go, well, why don't we make them give the money? And I think people misunderstand when they hear they're not turning over money, they think somebody's holding it and spending it out at Walmart somewhere. The water department is keeping the sanitation fees because they cannot stay afloat without them. Because as people have moved away and their revenue has decreased, they don't make enough to sustain. Water should be a revenue generating department, kind of like landfill, kind of like sanitation, but it's not. It's the revenue losing now, but it shouldn't be. And because it's been mismanaged over the years, and this is the kind of the back and forth I have with the water department head now, is all those other guys mismanage the water department. because at no point in time should they not have known that their department was losing money. I mean, if it's a revenue generating department, you count money. That's what you do. You count money. That's what I would do. I would count money. How much are we making? How much are we spending? But everybody from 2019 who was in charge of the water department mismanaged their department, no matter what they tell you. They did not come to this table and tell us our department is losing money. What I'm starting to understand as we go through this is they didn't even know. They never bothered to do the math. So they just came to work every day and they operated. And they did whatever they did. And the reason why I handed out that report that was given to us in 2022, which was last year, is because it gave some insight into what was going on financially in the department. They thought they were having financial trouble because of a storm, that big snowstorm in 2021. That's why they thought they were having problems, but they never did the basic month-to-month homework. And they would have known. And so that's what they reported to us as a body. We're in financial trouble, but it's because of that storm. So that's what we were told. We were never told we've been losing money for years now. And so that's my issue with water, but it's not that it's being, I guess I'm not in a position to say that there's no mismanagement in any department. I'm not. I don't have a checkbook and I don't know what they do on a day-to-day basis. However, the water department is losing money. And so if they give over all of the sanitation fees on a monthly basis, the general fund is going to have to turn around and send it back over so they can pay their bill. So it's like it would be a ruse if you do it right now. So they use it to survive and then they turn over what they can. But if you look at our budget and you look at the report that we got, what essentially is happening is the departments that are operating under their budgets, the money that they're saving is going to somebody else who doesn't have money, and it all stems from water losses. So water's not making what it should make. So sanitation fees don't make the general fund. Sanitation has to get money from somewhere else. Police is understaffed, but whatever they save by being understaffed is going to somebody else. So everybody's taking money from everybody else just to survive. And so my position has been, we have to stabilize water. Water is the source of every problem we have right now. If water gets stabilized. Now, I don't want to seem to be inconsistent. So when you mentioned what I said about having detailed reports or whatever on finances, when I looked at this motion, it didn't ask for any money. And so that's the reason why I said, okay, it talks about a work plan and a task outline. And so I said, it doesn't require expenditure of money. And so I was on board with that to the extent that they seek assistance for water. And, since it didn't ask for expensive money, I didn't have a problem with that. So I don't want that to appear to be inconsistent because I didn't ask any questions about that, but it wasn't money related. I agree with everybody else. This list of expenses that we have needs to be addressed one way or another. And that's why I've been saying what I've been saying for the last month or so now. I think we need to address our debt. And I think it starts in the water department. I think if we fix the water, everything else will take care of itself. Well, it won't take care of itself. It's still going to require some sound financial management, but at least we can get out of the hole that we're in.
We're unlimited. We can just come back to that on the 17th. There's a website I will email Mr. Turner.
With that.
As always. So yeah, that's a deadline, but it didn't pass.
Okay.
They're trying to submit something tomorrow.
Right.
And Community Unlimited has been on the agenda for a while. And they're a nonprofit group out of Fayetteville.
Mayor Franklin asked me to sit in on that particular meeting and I took notes. And I met most of that staff when they were here. And all they're trying to do is establish what we need so that they can assist us. So they're asking for information. I got an email today asking for information regarding the water department and what the needs are so that they can help us establish a pattern of what we need and how to fix it. So that's basically all they want, is just the general information about the state of the water department and how we need to address, taking care of the technical part of what they need. so that they can help us.
Give them that information.
Well, they came down
No.
for a whole 2 days
Information.
and walked the
Right.
plants and saw what the plants needed. And they just try to put a plan together so that they can help us get some funds. So that's what that's about. So they got a deadline by tomorrow to meet. So that's why I was trying to get this passed. But. So,
I mean, this is their motion.
yes.
is their motion.
Uh-huh.
They need something to authorize them to speak to the various state agencies on behalf of the city of Helena-West. And they, Brad Jarrett, who's with Communities Unlimited, is on the WAC committee. And Mr. Murdock can tell you more about what the WAC committee is, but it's a committee that deals something with the agencies that may fund water departments throughout the state and helps them to prioritize Helena should be 1 or Helena should be 50 type thing based on the application and the needs and all those things. And so that's generally what that part of it is. But one of the things they've consistently said is that their services are offered to us at no charge. They didn't tell us who pay them. They are a nonprofit entity and somebody's paying them. And I don't know who's paying them.
They've been here several times to work.
Yeah.
With Senator Cotton.
They started coming right after the June 25th water issue. And they've been coming since then.
I reached out to Senator Bozeman and we were at a meeting in DC. And the young man on the plane ride back said, listen, we'll be getting together because Helena's on our list to provide services. You know, some people that are willing to, on the federal level, help our water department. So that's why I'm kind of trying to push this through.
I think we got more information now. I'd like to make a motion that we accept this.
Dr. Miller moves to the Community Unlimited Work Plan. Mrs. Miller second the motion. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Etherly,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. St. Columbia,
Yes.
Dr. Miller,
Yes.
5 yes.
Item 8A1B, the water sewer rate study. That's not yet been completed as far as I know. But we did in your 27-page packet, submit a proposed ordinance that was developed in consultation with Mr. Murdock. And I can tell you exactly what it represents. Sets the sewer rate at 135% of the water rate. That's not to say that's what you should do, shouldn't do. It's just what's proposed. I'm in the city council meeting. I'll call you back.
How'd you come to that number?
The 135.
Yeah, I just want-
That was in consultation with Mr. Murdock. He can better explain that than I can.
Okay.
What I have learned historically is that the sewer rate was set at about 80% of the water rate because you wash cars, water yards, water plants. And the sewer rate was basically being charged for the water that goes into your house and out of your drain that we treat. So we don't treat the water that you wash your car with or water your yard with. But another consideration that Mr. Murdock explained to me, and I guess I may be able to explain it, is that you consider the cost of operating your sewer system. And because of the age, the current status of our sewer system, in that our redundancy has been erased, that you have 2 pumps at these lift stations and either neither work or only one work. In that we only have basically 1 sewer employee working for us right now. Our cost to kind of catch up is going to be at a greater rate than what we're charged. Right now, we're charging 57% of the water rate. So it's not even mean the 80. It's well below what it ought to be. And that's part of the water deficit as I see it. It went down apparently when they raised the rates in 2018, 2019, whenever they raised the rates. And that's been an ongoing issue that kind of went under the radar. I imagine what happened was they asked for a rate study to be done. It was done. Rural Water said, we believe this is a good rate for you. City council and the mayor and everybody thought, well, the Rural Water proposed it, it must be good. They adopted, and not realizing that they lowered the sewer rate to that percentage of the water. And that's catching up with us on a pretty regular basis. So we need to raise that. And so you can't raise it without a public hearing. So I'm gonna suggest we set a public hearing on the 17th. And for you all to we got the ordinance presented, but you can just white out or change the number to take it up or down. But that was the basis for setting it at that amount. I think it's at $21 or something like that, and then $2 for each 1,000 gallons. After $2 and some change at each 1,000 gallons after that. Yes, sir.
And it's water rate analysis has that commenced? Have they?
Rate study.
Yeah, the rate study, have they started?
The rate study, last I knew, at the last meeting 2 weeks ago, he was still gathering information. He had requested information from various people. And I hadn't followed up to see if he's gotten it. But it's one of those things where I'm just saying you don't need to wait on a rate study when you know that's part of your issue right now. I don't know that the rate study is going to raise the water rates a whole lot anyway, since you raised them in 2019 and you've been raising water rates consistent with inflation. But they may. I don't know. But your sewer rate is just out of line. It's just looking at the numbers and talking to Mr. Murdoch.
The rate study doesn't include the sewer rate.
I think he's just doing water right now. Yeah.
Well, part of the issue is, as Chief of Staff has said, is the sewer rate you have to have a public hearing. There's an anomaly in the law where water rates can just be raised, tied to any rate, and we are tied to the consumer price index. And so we raised the rates each year on water. However, sewer has not been raised since 2019. But the statute requires the city council to make adjustments so that the rates, the department be self-sufficient. And more specifically, what it says, the rate shall be sufficient in each year for the payment of proper reasonable expense for operation, repair, replacements and maintenance of the works, for the payment of sums requiring this shall to be paid into a sinking fund. And so the revenues are supposed to be at a rate that the sewer can operate in and of itself. It is a utility. All utilities are supposed to be profitable.
If I'm hearing you right, that means water should be profitable on its own and sewer should be profitable on its own.
Yes, sir. You hear me correct?
Okay. All right. So can we set that hearing for the 17th?
Well, the hearing can't be on the 17th. It has to be in a publication. You have to give 10 days notice of publication. Our publication, we won't be able to publish it till next Wednesday at the earliest.
So we should set a hearing for 10 days from next Wednesday.
Yes, sir. 10 days from next Wednesday be fine. Next one is saying after.
Oh, well, we could set it for your next city council meeting after the 17th, whatever that is, if that's what you want to do.
It'll be the 31st or the. October is three Tuesdays.
Okay,
Now, Mr. Evans was addressing me about the costs, and he raises a valid point. The issue is you still, Mr. Murdoch has experiences, and it probably should be 135%. Mr. Esther was asking me, as city attorney, well, how do we know what the actual cost is going to be without a rate study? And I said, well, you probably need a rate study if you want to know the actual cost. Because here's the one thing about it. You can raise rates once a year, just like with the sewer, just like with the water, I mean. But the rates have not been raised since 2019. And the rates should be raised annually to go with the rates as it relates to the water. but you have to have a public hearing first. Yes, sir.
National sewer rates been raised.
2019, last time sewer rates been raised.
So we did it with time, like we did with water rates.
But what I was saying, just to be clear, is
Yes.
if you don't know what sewer costs is actually costing, you don't know what your target is. And I understand what Mr. Valley is saying about it, the percentage of water, but that's kind of arbitrary in that it doesn't really assess the cost of sewer. You have to first assess the cost of sewer before you know what profit is. What is sewer costing us? And then profit is anything above that. So, I mean, last time we had we met consistently for over a 3-month period of time before we actually voted in the raises. And your rural water told us that this was the number, and I assume they based it on whatever information they got from the water department, and apparently it was bad information. So we are where we are. But I would prefer, it's gonna have to happen. I just want to get it right this time. And that means my preference is to know exactly what the number needs to be and do it one time, because people don't want to do it at all. I don't want to do it at all, but I want to get it right when we do it. And it was painful last time. We thought we were doing it right, but apparently, they were given bad information. They gave us bad information and we acted on bad information. So I want to make sure we get it right this time. That's just my preference.
All right, so we publish it next Wednesday and set it for your November council meeting. It's the first meeting in November. Okay, we'll do that. With Murdoch is here, we're dealing with water department, there anything you need. It needs more money. On 8A2B, the landfill rental, we're renting dozer, excavator, and articulated truck. I guess we'd ask that you allow that to continue for one more month. We haven't not found another articulated truck. Our dozer is at a point where it's been, not dozer, our excavator is at a point where it's been repaired, but there's some codes that need to be cleared. And hopefully those will be cleared within the next couple of weeks, where we can get our own excavator back to the landfill. We're still trying to find somebody who can repair our articulated truck. We needed two, but the one we had that burned, we got insurance money about $10,000, but it's not repaired because we haven't had somebody who's come down to repair it. And then the dozer we're still using, because we keep having problems with all of the dozers that we got. The rented dozers working, but the two that we own, every time we fix something, something else breaks, it seems. Turner.
Can it be repaired for $10,000? Do we know about how much it's gonna cost to have it repaired?
That is the estimate the insurance company established.
I mean, but the people, have we looked at anybody to come down and or to fix it?
I'd have to get more information from Tammy and Bruce, but yeah, my understanding is that the people have just been backlogged. Because it's only like 5,000 of that for the actual repair. 5,000 was for the tires. Okay. Oh, they cost like 2,500 a piece, 2 tires burned. And I believe those tires have been replaced, or won't be difficult to replace. I think Bruce could put a tire on, as big as it is, but it's the other mechanical work to make sure that it stops, slows down, does those types of things when it's driving. Because what happened, I don't know if you remember, bed mattress got wrapped around the rear end with the mattress in it, and a few hours after they stopped it, it smoldered and then it started burning. There wasn't nobody even on the truck, and the fire department went out there to put that out. But it just got really hot under there, winding and grinding and stuff. And that happens in landfill. That's how you tear up a lot of stuff. But you're driving over literally all of the trash. Yeah, even in pickup trucks. Yeah. Which at some point we're gonna have to address pickup truck for the landfill and these other departments. We're piecing them together. And I also think we just as an aside, I think we've underbought pickup trucks. We buy these light duty trucks and we don't do light duty work. The water department needs a full-fledged service truck with boxes on the side and carry the tool. Well, you know, we're out there all night and you running from one truck to the other, trying to get one part off one truck and another part off another truck kind of thing. The landfill guys basically walking because their truck don't work. And it's just a list of things like that. And that's not anybody's fault. I'm just saying, going forward, we should be buying bigger, heavy duty trucks geared towards the work that's being done. Not just a state contract approve this and this is what we want because we want a new truck.
Hopefully we can get into a budget where we can put vehicles on rotation. Cause you know, like I work for state government in 3 years.
Yeah.
They're old. I mean, most vehicles are not meant to take the wear and tear that our vehicles do. We keep our vehicles 5, 10. It's way too long for us, a work vehicle.
Right. So the landfill rental authorization is where we are. Rental will turn them in.
You said about it. We're in the landfill trucks.
We got those excavator and the truck. Tonight not a good night. We'll come back to that. Let us skip down to something that's probably relatively easy. Ms. Beth Flores is here, and she's I got this listed. She's at 8A5. Item C. She's requested that she be given $500 a month to feed the animals, and I believe the animals are now at Heartland. Ms. Beth?
Right.
At Heartland, that's the place you all authorized us to rent from Miss Leslie Galloway or Helena-West on Meals on Wheels. I don't know which one is the appropriate name. And we pay $1,500 a month for that. I think it is. And it holds, how many animals? 12. It holds 12. So it's the same number that would have been housed at the landfill facility. But she needs a budget for some, she needs some money for the dog food.
Miss Ford come up.
Ms. Florida, they requested you come up.
So I know that the city is already coming, we're paying $1,500 a month, correct?
Correct.
For Heartland. And so with this $500, is there not a way that you could reach out to partners and get donations for that dog food?
Right now, I'm feeding them off of people's donations, or what I've bought personally for them. There's been no money. I mean, we had a donation of some dog food early on, but since the dogs have been out at Heartland, everything that we've been feeding has been donated from people that when we put out requests for help on Facebook and other stuff like that. That's what's coming in to help feed these dogs. Saying 12 dogs, that's 12 dogs at Heartland. But I have 16 dogs in foster care.
Now, what is?
Foster care is where we've reached out to community friends who we've asked them to allow us to place some animals in their homes. And we provide them with dog food and kennels or cages as necessary to have them a safe spot to where they become more used to being a family pet, makes them much more adoptable and presentable to other rescues and stuff that might be able to help us. And a lot of times the larger ones that we've reached out to, sir.
Wait, sorry, you said we have another program as well?
We have what?
Another program that y'all got,
No, what I'm talking about, we have foster families that are helping us with situations with some of our dogs. That we just reached, that we've had those ever since I started this, when we didn't have a spot to put them in yet. And a lot of these people who help us are usually the folks who have called to ask for help. And I'll give you an instance. I have a family that lives on Phillips 300, right at the turn spot where the Daddy Ray's barbecue used to be. And the dog just showed up at their house and she was very pregnant and they called and asked for help. And what I arranged with them was that I would help them with the dog food and the crate if they could just please keep the dog. And they've taken her all the way through the delivery. And she has 4 puppies that are about 10 weeks old now that are ready to be adopted out. And the kennel that we had out at the landfill, I took to their house so they could have a safe spot for those puppies. And this is very normal. This is what every city, what every rescue or shelter tries to do, because 2 things happen. They get used to being a family pet, and that makes them more adoptable out into the rest of the world. And it keeps them safer from being exposed to potential viruses and other illnesses of dogs that might be coming into the shelter. So it really works out well for us. And so I personally have 9 at my house. And so I have puppies and what we call teenagers, which are anywhere from 3 months to 18 months old. And then we have adults. And I have mostly teenagers, but I have 4 puppies that are 7 weeks old that I got today. Nowhere to take them to, but they were in the middle of the street and they were going to be run over. Nobody claimed them. Nobody knew anything about them in that neighborhood. We were in the Marquette housing project. And again, I got 2 calls this morning from the housing project from 2 different women who kind of are like my nosy neighbors next door who helped me there to know when there's a lot of pack dogs moving. And this one female had 9 males tracking her through Marquette. And they were stopping in different yards and starting fights and stuff. And I went and I had to remove the female. And she's at Dr. Pittman's right now, trying to get like an emergency spay. So there would not be any more potential for injury to the dogs or to any of the people who live in that community, because they might try to come out and stop the fight. Oh, I thought somebody said something. So I have her at Dr. Pittman's right now, boarded, so she can get her vaccinations and be spayed as soon as possible, because we know she probably had 9 boyfriends successful in the last 24 hours. And they were fighting their way across the Marquette housing project. That's the type of thing that, again, that's what we need to really focus on, is the spay neuter program to help us here in Helena. I've got a pack of dogs, the ones in Marquette. I have a pack of dogs in Helena that I got calls about day before yesterday. And I got there just in time to see them parading themselves across Columbia. 2 had collars, 5 didn't. Where do these dogs go? Where do they belong? And so we're still being lucky to have the coupons that the Bissell Foundation has given us. So we're still lucky to have the fact that Dr. Pittman honors those coupons, and our friends in Wynn, the Wynn Animal Rescue, honor those coupons. So we're able still to get a highly discounted spay neuter and a rabies. The cost to the citizen is only $50 for both of those, which is really inexpensive in the big game. We have access to those, but it's just so much of it needs to be an education process. And it needs to start out with the kindergartners about, this is how you're supposed to treat these animals. This is why, we take care of our animals. They're part of our family. How to do things the right way from an early age. But right now, I'm treading water, just trying to stay ahead of this curve on how many animals we have. the large group that's in Boston, Last Hope. They are moving a lot of animals out of Arkansas, but a lot of that is held back from nothing that's heartworm positive can go unless it's been treated. The expensive way to treat it, not the slow kill, but the rapid kill, which is between $700 and $900 a dog. They don't like to take very many pit bulls. So just about everything, the trifecta in Helena is every dog you looked at, you could say, well, that's a combination of a German Shepherd, a pit, and a lab. Every dog's gonna have a little bit of pit in them. And just depending on how the picture comes across to them determines on whether or not they're gonna accept them. They all have to be completely wrapped tight with, they have to have had their shots, they have to have all their heartworm testing, parvo testing at their puppies. They have to follow a regimen that they set out, which is a wonderful one, but you still have to follow it 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you get in line and wait. It's not like, oh, they took their last shot today, they can leave in a week. You're in line with the rest of the United States to get these dogs moved. So we have very adoptable pets. Really do. I mean, I'm telling you, because I'm living with half of them. And with the help of Leslie Gallery with her group, and we are brainstorming with just about every other shelter around us, the one in Mariana, the one in Forest City, the one in Wynn, to try to find more folks that might be able to help all of us to get the dogs out of here.
How many dogs right now are y'all feeding?
We're feeding 12 at Heartland, and then we're feeding 28,
28 dogs.
the Fosters and the ones in Heartland.
I don't think her request for $500 to feed the animals of this community is too much. I make a motion that we endorse her request and move that we accept her request for $500, no more than $500 to feed the dogs of the city.
Thank you.
I make that motion.
One time.
Every month.
Every month. They have to eat every month. I got 2 animals in my house, and I know what it costs to feed them. One German Shepherd. She's got 28 dogs she feeds that run the streets of Helena.
And again, I'm very lucky. I'll say again, I'm very lucky that we've had people who agreed to send us dog food through places like Chewy and PetSmart to send it every month, no matter what. And that's what has really sustained us through this. But I need to, with that $500, I can do several things. I can reach out to different groups who can maybe get me the food at a better cost than if I just went to Walmart to buy it.
Up to, but not to exceed $500. I'll make that motion. Who's running the city? Council meeting. Do we have a second?
Motion on the floor to approve $500 per
Up
month
to, but not to exceed $500.
for food for animals, for dogs. Is there a second? Motion will fail for lack of a second. Mr. St. Columbia, I would just add, I would be inconsistent, which is what I tried not to be earlier this evening. I would be inconsistent if I say yes to this without her requiring some report as to where her department stands financially. Is she under budget? Is she over budget? And what's the plan? How do we pay for this? I've said that the last 2 meetings for everybody who came and made requests. And so I'm not gonna change now. What's the next item on?
Thank you.
There's code enforcement business. I don't know if there's any, well, mayor's back. Code enforcement.
On code enforcement, we'll come back to those, the 12th Street, Miss Harris had asked us to do some work over there, and we had pictures and stuff to show her. On the housing authority demolition, we're down to the last 10%. We believe we've completed the project. There's an inspection on the 10th. If it's complete, they will make the final payment. My understanding, I know they paid us 70%. We billed them for 90%, and there may be a check waiting on us in Jacksonville for that. We've been billed by the contractor, so they're waiting on us to get it. Condemnation status, according to the department head meeting, there are some things that they're getting ready to present to the city attorney to condemn some houses. So we'll just wait on that. And then we're going to ask you at the next meeting on these 3 houses here to declare them nuisances so we can tear them down sooner rather than later. That's 112 Cherrydale, 529 York, and 512 Perry. Each of those are owners' requests to be torn down, but we're going to get the nuisance declaration or the notice of intent that the Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality is requiring, since they've come down here twice to see how we're doing this stuff. And I believe that's it. You know, everybody's gone. Oh, there's a millage ordinance. Ms. Ramsey, is that ready? We have to pass a millage. That's item E.
Yes, sir. Everybody has a copy of it.
You have to pass a millage in order to collect your real estate taxes every year. You have to pass that millage.
With the ordinance number 8, it hasn't changed in 20 years.
It's been motion to place it on this.
Third and final. Move to, what's that ordinance number 8?
Number 8.
Move to, adopt ordinance number 8 by placing it on its third and final reading title only.
To approve. Can we,
We don't have a.
we have to wait just a minute. Some of the members have went to the restroom, so we gotta wait some of the members come back. So you wanna hold your motion?
Quick question. I probably should ask when Ms. Florida was here. On the I think it's Heartland.
Go, man.
Is there a contract for that, or are we just pretty much just paying a fee?
We have not approved the contract.
That's not a contract for city attorney to review, and it hasn't been approved. I think you just approved using the facility for a month.
Like a
I approved it for a month because we until the city attorney had to the contract.
What was the terms of the contract? Like how long?
Just for 30 days, every 30 days.
Yeah, you brothers to pay $1,500 every 30 days for use of the 12 stalls and whatever land they have up there.
I think if she wants to sell it. I think, since we don't have out of the landfill.
Gotcha.
So I think if she wants to sell it, do at least to own probably. I just did it for months to get you all the information you all need so you all can make that decision. Now, since we have the members back, Mr. Anthony, what is number this is read?
8. Ordinance
Number 8 on the third and final reading.
Move to adopt ordinance number 8 by placing it on its third and final reading title only.
Mr. Anthony moves for ordinance number 8 on its third and final reading. Is there a second?
A second.
Ms. Miller seconds the motion. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Ms. Davis. Mr. St. Columbia.
Yeah.
Dr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Etherly.
Yes.
Ms. Miller. 5 yes.
It's ordinance number 8, 2023 is ordinance living taxes on real and personal property located within the city of Helena-West, Arkansas, based on the 2022 assessment to defray general expenses of city of Helena-West, Arkansas for the year 2023 to pay pensions to the retired police and firefighters, and pensions to the widows and minor children of deceased police and fire officers and firefighters, and for other purposes. There needs to be a motion to adopt.
Ms. Anthony, some rules.
Can we already do
But you got to pass
the
Second.
You have to pass the ordinance every
third
year.
reading.
Ms. Davis seconds the motion. Any discussion? Ms.
This is
Davis.
to adopt.
Yeah.
Put on third reading.
Let's go to call roll.
Mr. St. Columbia?
Yes.
Dr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Davis? Ms. Miller?
Yeah.
Mr. Etherly?
Yes.
5 yes.
Emergency clause. It may not be required.
No, it's not required. Yes, this is ordinance we do every year. It's required for us to do it every year for them to collect the taxes.
That's been renewed.
Yes, and if we don't do it, then we don't collect the taxes.
So our next meeting is set for November 7th. No, October 17th.
Yeah.
I skipped one. No, I'm sorry.
October 17th.
October 17th.
And then we have a public hearing. What date did you say?
On the 7th.
On the 7th. I'm not.
No, the public hearing.
Today. You need to set another 10 days out.
Right.
Unless you're gonna have a special meeting, do something else,
Okay, I got you.
do it on the 7th.
Hey, at 5:30 or 5.
We'll talk about that. But you may need to do two. I don't know if we can do two at once. Maybe do one from 5 to 5:30 and one from 5:30 to 6.
That'll be fine.
Before we adjourn, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month and Domestic Violence Month. Me, I'm purchasing shirts for the staff here at City Hall. I don't want to leave you all out. If you all would like a shirt, please text me your size. Not the city, but I will, out of my pocket, purchase shirts. Yes. Yeah, so I will be buying those breast cancer awareness shirts for, and don't want, I for the administration, certainly don't want to forget about the body. We had, on Fridays, we got dress down Fridays. I bought most of the people in the water department, City Hall shirts for local people. I want our people to start supporting locally. So I've spent a great deal of my own personal money on shirts for people from the courts to water to the administration. I want them to have dress down Friday to support our local people here. So we'll have another local person who will be providing shirts. Give you a size, I will happily pay for your shirt.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. I was for the Blues Fest.
I have one announcement also.
Yes.
Not to keep you too long. October 28th, starting at 8 a.m. Advertising and Promotion Commission will be sponsoring a cleanup of West Helena on Plaza Street, which would traditionally have been the downtown area of yeah, it is. It's not. No, it's correct for me. October 28th on Plaza Street. We did one in August for downtown Helena. We'll be doing it in West Helena on October 28th. Want to invite people to come out and assist and just do what you can. Cut grass, pick up paper, whatever. Let's help clean up the city.
Well, I got,
On Plaza.
I brought an edger.
Did you?
Yeah, so I'll be out. So I'll be out there because I was at the last one. I try to get it every cleanup there is. I edge and some of the people who are cutting vendors that's cutting grass, they'll be out there to help as well. I've told them that that's something that we ought to give back to Helen. So we've got people that will be out to try to clean up. Yes, sir.
Good question.
Yes, sir.
Is that related to what we used to do as a city? Didn't we used to like adopt parts of the city and people claim it, they clean it? Is that kind of what that is?
We haven't done it since we consolidated, but I mean, some cities and counties, do that, adopt it.
Yeah, and I think it's good that we all are just getting, because my thing is, we have so many people have so many things going on in Helena. And I think if they see, like I was digging out drainage on Plaza so the water can flow in those drainages. You look by beach grass, so Kip Delta School, the walkway by it used to be Church of Latter-day Saints. I've dug those out so water can flow through those. So we want people to, people got a lot of complaining, but I haven't seen none of those people complain with a shovel in their hand out of these districts, getting this city clean. As the mayor of the city, I believe in putting a shovel, a broom, or something in my hand to clean it up without any discussion. So I encourage anybody, that's the only way we'll get our city back on the right path. We got to get in this together and keep our city clean. As we started tearing down houses, we need to keep this thing going. It is not for vain. It's because I love Helena and I want to stay clean. So let's take
If I may, wait a second. October 19th. October 19th, just want to remind, well, I don't know if y'all got an email yet, but there's gonna be another watershed meeting on October 19th at Central High School from 6 to 8. So just want to tell y'all that you put in your calendars now. 6 to 8 is what they actually reserved the high school auditorium for on October the 19th.
And the watershed is doing some great things in this area. So just wait till they get full throttle. Let's say, Columbia. Thank you, everybody.
You just had the news list.